Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. And today I want to talk about a really important concept that is prevalent in AA, but in a lot of other programs as well. The concept of easy does it, and what it means, why it's important, especially for addicts and alcoholics who may not be used to taking anything easy in their lives. So think about yourself, especially yourself in your addiction. Were you the type of person who often took on more than you could possibly accomplish and then found yourself in very stressful situations trying to meet all these different obligations? Or were you maybe the type of person who would come up with endless lists of things that needed to be accomplished, that needed to be done, and then obsessed about crossing things off of those lists? Or did you just do everything to the extreme, regardless of whether you were organized about it or not? Those are the kinds of things that happen to us, and that a lot of addicts and alcoholics, those are some of our character traits. We tend to overdo things. And so in our recovery, we have to learn to take things easy. And easy does it is the phrase that reminds us to do that. So I'm going to read a little bit from Living Sober about what this phrase means, why it might be important to us. So reading a little bit about how we used to not take it easy. As alcoholics and addicts, we often tended to gulp drinks faster than other people did, and we were seldom likely to overlook the last few drops in the cocktail glass or the last few slugs in the bottle. So I'm going to stop right there, because I know that a lot of, especially recovering alcoholics, can sympathize with this. Being at dinner with somebody who doesn't finish their drink, didn't it used to drive you crazy? You'd think, why haven't they finished that? And will they let me finish it for them? Isn't that an odd, now that you're in recovery, you look back, isn't that an odd compulsion to want to finish someone else's drink for them? And to be somewhat resentful that they could leave a drink half finished like that. That's how much value we put on alcohol, and how much compulsion we had to take it to the limit and to take it to the extreme and to finish everything that was in front of us and then move on to the next that we could get our hands on. So moving on a little bit, they say the slogan "Easy does it" is one way we AAs remind each other that many of us have tendencies at times to overdo things, to rush heedlessly along, impatient with anything that slows us down. We find it hard to relax and savor life. We know that impatience today is by no means limited to alcoholics. As the rate of change in our civilization accelerates, more and more people feel pressed for time and harried to hurry up and catch up with what? With whom? Such pressure does not push most drinkers into alcoholism, as anyone can see. Only a small percentage of drinkers develop our problem, but those of us who did often find we share a need to learn how to relax, how to pace ourselves in a healthy way, how to enjoy small gains and even the simple pleasures along the way. In short, how to enjoy the journey instead of just fretting until we reach our destination. The horizon stays there. Sometimes it pays to stand still and gaze at it for the refreshment of the long look. So going back, those of us who did often find we need to learn how to relax, how to pace ourselves in a healthy way, and how to enjoy small gains and even the simple pleasures along the way. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in a really weird headspace, and I was having some problems getting out of that headspace. And I was talking to my wife about it, and she said, "You seem like you're just trying to get too much stuff done." And I wasn't taking it easy. I was focused on crossing things off on a to-do list, on getting that to-do list finished. I wasn't taking things easy and trying to enjoy life and just live life. And so that's something that's really important for us to remember, is that, we have a tendency to overdo things. We have a tendency to stress ourselves out with the lists of things that we have to get done and overcommitments. And a lot of times we tend to do this even more in recovery because we have the energy and the time to dedicate ourselves to what on the outside look like great projects, and I know people who have thrown themselves so hard into recovery and taken on so much commitment, so many sponsees and so many meeting responsibilities that they burn out from it. And pretty soon they're questioning their own commitment to their recovery. Those are the kind of people who benefit from taking it easy. Doesn't mean you back off all the way. Doesn't mean that you stop doing anything. It means you slow it down a little bit. It means you don't go to the same extremes that we used to go to in our addictions. Now, I'm a list person. I love to-do lists. That's how I organize my life. In my addiction, I had one that was pages long, and it was organized into, what do I need to get done today and this weekend and during the week, and what's a priority and what can likely wait. What are just things I'd like to do? So overwhelming. And they talk about it here. And even today, I get caught up in my lists, and I purposely keep my lists on a very small. I used to have a Word document that had different sections and stuff. It was crazy. Now I just keep a very small notepad. It's not here, but the pages are this big, and I do that on purpose so that I can't make these huge lists. They have to be small, to keep me focused on just the most important things. Everything else in the future, it'll fall into place. Just focus on the stuff right now. And so they say here, others of us find that lists and schedules can become tyrants, driving us to finish every item no matter how much time and effort it takes. So we swear off lists for a while. No longer pushed by their dictatorship, we can learn to move at a more spontaneous, leisurely pace. There's something really important there, because what I have found in recovery is that when I am dictated by lists, by things I have to get done, which is very easy to get caught up in, when I get dictated by that, I start to want to take control of every situation I'm in, and I get back into that addict mindset, and I start to get irritated, start to get discontented, start to get upset with people who get in the way of me accomplishing the things that I've put down on that list. I start to lose flexibility in life. And all of a sudden, the attitude that I'm carrying around with me looks a lot like the one that I carried around back when I was in my addiction. So I've got to learn, and this is something I'm actively learning. I am still working on this. I've got to learn to take it easy a little bit and be able to prioritize, but not be so rigid in how things happen that I can't enjoy life and just live it as I'm going along. So a lot of this comes back to ego and pride. And we got to admit, when we've got this list of, I have to get things done, part of what's driving us there is the fear that if we don't get those things done, something bad's going to happen. And part of what's driving that fear is an egotistical belief that we are more important in the world than we actually are. And so what the book says about this is, when we do find ourselves uptight and even frantic, we can ask ourselves occasionally, am I really that indispensable? Or is this hurry really necessary? What a relief to find the honest answer is frequently no. And such devices actually serve in the long run not only to help us get over our drinking problem in its own ways, they also enable us to become far more productive because we can serve and channel our energy better. We arrange priorities more sensibly. We learn that many actions once considered vital can be eliminated if we thoughtfully re-examine them. How much does it really matter is a very good question. Last thing I'll say, and that they say here, of course, easy does it gives us no license for procrastination or being late for appointments. So, easy does it is not an excuse. It's not a way for us to say, just throw up our hands and let things happen however they happen. Easy does it as a way to remind ourselves that the rigidity and that the hurry and impatience that we exhibited in our addiction are things that are not healthy and won't help us live a productive life in recovery. But it's not something to be used as an excuse for not accomplishing things that need to be accomplished or not meeting obligations that you've made. So don't mistake this as a way of excusing those kinds of things. It's more of a guiding principle to remind us that impatience and hurry and this false sense of obligation and importance don't help us do the important work of recovery, which, as if you boil it all down, the important work of recovery is to live a healthy, happy, productive life. And so that's where easy does it comes into play. Hope that you can take it easy today, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning with more.